generally revolve around starchy carbohydrates. But I think that if you then have to do away with all of those comfort foods, you're unlikely to stick to something. So instead of using risotto rice, we're going to use cauliflower. Now, cauliflower is obviously a vegetable. It's still classified as a carbohydrate, but it's very fibrous. It's got lots of nutrients in it, and it's simply not going to have that same blood sugar response in the body when we eat it. The first thing that we're going to do is just saute some garlic and some mushrooms. If you are trying to lose weight, then we want to really limit the amount of sugars that we're consuming, but not to the point where our body feels like it's going into a starvation mode. So a good way of doing that is maybe, 5-6 days of the week, you're eating lots of vegetables, lots of really good quality proteins and fats, but then 1 or 2 days a week, you are having those kind of starchier, more warming carbs that we do crave. Because I know from my experience, when I tell clients that they're not to eat any simple carbohydrates like bread, flour, pasta, they might be able to do it for a small amount of time, but sooner or later they fall off the wagon. So we're just going to saute that garlic along with a couple of cups of mushrooms. So we'll let those simmer away for a bit. Okay, so that's been simmering for a little while. So we're just going to now add in 1/4 cup of white wine. Now all of the alcohol is burnt off from this, so this is still a non-alcoholic meal. We'll just turn that up, turn the heat up so that it will simmer and burn off all of the alcohol. Now it's time to just add in the rest of the ingredients. So I'm going to add in the coconut milk rather, then the chicken broth, and then the cauliflower. So this cauliflower, it looks a little bit like rice. All I've done is I've just put it in my food blender and I have whizzed it up so that it gets to the consistency of rice. If you don't have a blender, you can just simply chop up the cauliflower with a knife as fine as possible. And this is great. This is appropriate for the 7-day detox. But if you do want that sort of slightly cheesy flavour, you could maybe even add some nutritional yeast flakes. And I'm just going to let that sit for 10 to 15 minutes. So the cauliflower has been simmering for probably about sort of 12-13 minutes now, just to the point where it's really evaporated a lot of the liquids. And what that's done is it's just concentrated the flavour. So now it's just simply a question of plating it up. You can sprinkle a few herbs on top if you like. This is some thyme. And then, for a little bit of extra indulgence, this is truffle oil. This is some truffle oil I picked up when we went on a trip to Croatia, truffle hunting actually. And just a tiny bit, just enough to give it that bit of extra delicious flavour. Now, this looks similar to a rice risotto, and hopefully it will just hit that spot for that lovely comfort, rich, carby-based food without the carbs.